Alright, hello Guild Wars 2 gamers. Today is Wednesday, July 23rd. We've got some Guild Wars 2 news, and we have got the Elite Specialization Sneak Peek blog post that they promised us for today. It's not the classes I thought it was going to be, because the first three classes that they announced to us was the Troubadour, the Evoker, and the Antiquary, which was the Mesmer, the Elementalist, and the Thief. And so I think most of us assumed that those would be the first three that they were going to unveil. However, nope. After much speculation, the time for illumination is now. Check our news update for more about the Mesmer, Ranger, and Guardian Elite specializations, and stay tuned for closer looks at more in the coming weeks. And there is a link to this blog post. And the blog post starts off with a YouTube video. So let's just go to the YouTube video. I have not watched this yet. Let's see what they got.
Their wild hunt lead them into the world where they experience tragedy and heroics, adventure and excitement. Now that they've returned to the Grove, the Troubadour is ready to share their journeys in melody and tale. Let the instruments aid in battle, blustering your
I have so much to say, but we'll just rewatch it with my comments after.
enemies, giving your allies time to attack. The lute strums 3 times on its magical strings, sending pulses of energy forth to deal damage to your enemies. As the battle's tempo ebbs and flows, let the harp heal your allies for a moment of soothing melodies. And as you build up notes, be ready to strike a crescendo upon your enemies, while giving your allies a helping hand. Tales of the Dominion of Winds are whispered on the breeze. Graceful warriors from the royal houses have emerged, eager to share their ways with the Tyrian alliance. The galeshot manipulates magnificent gales to strengthen the power of their bow. Draw your cyclone bow, a testament to the magical abilities of these skilled Tengu. With your cyclone bow summoned, gain feathers over time. Use these feathers to bluster your enemy, firing 3 arrows rapidly at your target. Evade backwards, shooting a hail of wind and arrows, crippling your would-be assailants. Use your supersonic arrow, bursting forth with the power of the wind, dealing heavy damage. And finish off your enemy with a final blow, leaping back
The 360.
with a flourish of arrows. As your enemies fall, let the wind carry their last breath away. Rising from the ashes of the Char Civil War, the Iron and Flame Legions have combined their technological and...
I just want to say, I was wrong on this icon. On my bingo sheet, I was like, this could be Guardian. I'm going to put it down as Paragon. And I locked it in as Paragon, so I was wrong on the shield. Which means, if I shift everything around, that thing that we thought might be the closed lamp is probably Revenant. And the helmet that I had for Guardian is probably the Paragon. That's my new guess based on this information.
magical sensibilities to harness radiant flame to beckon forth an era of change. Call up the Radiant Shroud to gain access to the power bestowed upon you.
I'm sorry, are they murdering a bunch of skimmers?
Protect yourself with your shields and daze your enemies with a quick bash. Bring the hammer down upon them as you grant boons to your allies with the hammer's presence. Take a stance against the damages done to your allies as you heal and grant them protection. Become a symbol of hope by fulfilling the duties of the luminary.
I love that animation. That's my favorite part of this video. Okay. All right. I got a lot of thoughts on this one. But why don't we pair the thoughts with each section? So let's read through here, and when we get to each section, we'll rewatch the associated part of the YouTube video. All right. Let's see. Last week, we announced our 6th expansion, Guild Wars 2 Visions of Eternity, and with that comes the news that Elite specs are back. Over the next 3 weeks, we'll be providing details on all 9 Elite specs through trailers, blogs, and live streams. This week, we're focusing on the Mesmer, Ranger, and Guardian. Tune into our Twitch channel this Friday, July 25th at noon Pacific time for a live preview of these Elite specs. Just a note for my own audience, that is 3 p.m. Eastern. I won't be live at that time, so I will be covering this during the evening stream. So either really late Friday or Saturday morning, I'll have a YouTube video on that for the people that get their news from me. But if you want to get it live, that's the time it will be there. You'll also be able to play all of the Elite specializations yourself during our beta event from August 20th at 9 a.m. Pacific until August 27th at 10 p.m. Pacific time. Okay. The Troubadour, inspiring storytellers. You know, I guessed that they would have 3 instruments just because 3 shatters. However, I totally took the my thoughts from Black Desert Online, and I was like, they'll probably have a stringed instrument, the flute, and bongo drums. So I was wrong on bongo drums. So they've got 2 stringed instruments and a flute. So they got a harp, ukulele, and the flute itself. All right. Since the Firstborn emerged from beneath the boughs of the Pale Tree 36 years ago, many Sylvari have taken the lesson, where life goes, so too should you to heart, traversing Tyria, battling their inner dragons, and finding their inner peace in the time after. Okay, that was the first thing that made me go, huh?
Their wild hunt lead them into the world where they experience tragedy.
So the wild hunt is the Sylvari. The Sylvari are born and they have a goal already in mind. They're born as like a fully formed adult. And like, you know, Traherne is like, I gotta kill that dragon. Like, you know, some of them have a really easy wild hunt, like I'm gonna farm carrots. And some of them are like, God dang it.
And heroics, adventure, and excitement. Now that they've returned to the grove, the Troubadour...
Okay, so my first look of confusion when we got to this point was, why are they not showing a Sylvari for this? You are a loaf. They show, you know, a human, and they're completely describing a Sylvari for the first, you know, for the first chunk of this. That's a minor detail, but it is a thought I had. I recognize I'm nitpicking right now. I'm just sharing my thoughts.
Hey, look, it's the tree of birds.
These far-flung travelers have seen and done much in such a short time, and some, whether through whim or wild hunt, have taken to regaling Tyrians with tales of recent, famous, and infamous figures, such as the cunning Dougal Keen, the fearless... He just sits in Lion's Arch and eats snacks. Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was a big thing in the book. The fearless Almora Soulkeeper, and even the scathing Scarlet Briar. Now these Sylvari troubadours have returned home from their time abroad to share their craft in good faith and to strengthen the bonds between their people and the rest of the Tyrian alliance. Troubadours spin dramatic ballads. Okay, that's kind of... Imagine you got a Char Mesmer in your group, and the Char's like, yeah, so I was a Mesmer in Lion's Arch, but then I met this Mesmer, other Mesmer that was a Salad, and the Salad had traveled the world, and he heard about this terrorist, and she blew up Lion's Arch, but he had a really good song about it. I think you're gonna love it. And you're like, sir, we're in combat right now, and he's like, trust me, it's gonna be good. All right. Now these Sylvari troubadours have returned home from their time abroad to share their craft of good faith and strengthen the bonds between their people and the rest of the Tyrian alliance. Troubadours spin dramatic ballads and tales as their words weave magic and music to raise allies' spirits and demoralize their foes. Their recitals can even be accompanied by illusory instruments for additional effects. Build up to a crescendo. Troubadours are Mesmers who seek to support their allies in battle through the power of music and the fantastical tales of Tyrian heroics. Being more orally, that's orally, not like nom nom, orally focused, troubadours opt to manifest their power by generating musical notes with their abilities rather than visually deceptive clones. These notes are used to extend the duration of their instrumental enchantments, allowing them to command a lasting presence in combat. Once their orchestra is in full swing, the troubadours use their keynote skill, crescendo, to swing the tide of battle with appropriate flair. The power of songs and tales. When playing as a troubadour, your shatter skills are replaced by instruments. A lot of us were correct on that. When an instrument is played, it produces an initial magical effect. Performing with the reverberating lute will release waves of sonic energy, damaging enemies. Strumming the harmonious harp will create a healing area to provide succor to allies. After an instrument is used, it will continue playing in the background, providing bonuses to the player that can be further augmented through traits. Troubadours use their voices as well as their instruments. They can recite the tale of Queen Jenna protecting divinity's reach to grant their allies distortion. I'm sorry. Or they can... I just imagine your group in combat. Your clone is like playing this sick riff about Scarlet Briar blowing up friggin' Lion's Arch. And then you're like, did I ever tell you about the time Queen Jenna saved divinity's reach? And they were like, will you pick up your gun? Like... It's just like all mashing together and just this wall of noise, and everyone's like, oh my god, I'm never grouping with this person again. Alright, where was I? God dang it. They can invoke the story of Scarlet Briar, emulating her cruelty to debilitate her enemies. Troubadours can become a whole band on their own through the Grandmaster trait Call and Response, creating an afterimage of an instrument that repeats its effect. Alright, okay, let's go back to this thing for a sec.
Is ready to share their journeys in melody and tale. Let the instruments aid in battle, flustering your enemies, giving your allies time to attack. The lutes...
So the first thing, I believe she's dazing her. I think it's some sort of CC. This reminds me greatly of EverQuest. EverQuest had a line of magic that was called Mesmerize. If you, let's say your tank accidentally pulled too many mobs, not moms, gonna hear about that one. You had too many mobs, and you would cast Mesmerize, and all of them would basically get hit with like a flashbang. And they would all just be standing there, just, but as soon as you hit them, they would snap out of it. But that would allow you, if your group was, not AoEing, to hit them and kill them one at a time. This looks very similar to that, but then this stupid guardian instantly breaks it.
The lute strums 3 times on its magical strings, sending pulses of energy forth to deal damage to your enemies. As the
Alright, so they got that from Sona.
Battle's tempo ebbs and flows. Let the harp heal your allies for a moment of soothing melodies. And as you...
Alright, so I'm guessing that's supposed to be a fat heal, right? It's some sort of heal support thing. I'm reminded of Tempest Overload Water. Even if you are a full damage Tempest, Overload Water still does respectable healing all around you. I would expect this to be like that, because you don't want a healing skill that is purely based off scaling if it's something kind of big cooldown, because the downside can be that your DPS build, and then the skill is crap. You want the skill to be decent even if you're not a heal build, if it's going to be like your F2 or something like that. So I'm guessing this is going to be like Overload Water.
Build up notes. Be ready to strike a crescendo upon your enemies, while giving your allies a helping hand.
So strike a crescendo on your enemies and give your allies a helping hand tells us nothing. I have no idea what that does. Maybe it's boons on allies, maybe it's heals on allies, maybe it boosts their endurance bar, maybe it does damage to the enemies, maybe it debuffs the enemies, maybe it sends them feat picks, and maybe that's damage or a buff depending on who they are. I have no idea. So crescendo, I don't know what that does. Pretty sure we all know what, oh, I'm not reading that out loud. Might be damage, I mean, I don't know. I do not know. So, let's see. Extend the duration of instrumental enchantments, allowing them to command elastic presence in combat. Swing the tide of battle with appropriate flair. Yeah, so crescendo, we know some fancy words. We honestly don't know anything about it, what it does. Okay. So, the next one. Right here. So we got a picture here. Also, I didn't really zoom in on the artwork here. So, that is the new artwork for the Troubadour. Not bad, not bad. And then we got that picture here. And then we've got the galeshot. I like the artwork. Got her hair pulled up on one of those pineapple ponytail looking things. Air whipping the, I don't know, not a dress. I don't know what to call that. It's like tabard. Air whipping that all over the place. Looks nice. Okay, let's see what they have to say about this. Galeshot, Masters of Wind. For over 100 years, the Tengu of the Dominion of Winds have kept their gates shut and their arrows trained on the world. After minions of Primordus Ajormag threatened to siege the Dominion's walls in the last Dragon Rise, some Tengu have emerged to more actively engage in Tyrian affairs and, as a rare honor, offer cultural exchanges at the behest of their royal house. One such exchange is the honored tradition of the galeshot. I'm sorry, hold on. Threatened to siege the walls. So the dragons considered attacking the wall, and they're like, we should probably help the world. Which is a good decision, IMO, but kind of funny that that was the driving force in my mind. These Tengu archers, skilled and oathbound to protect the royal houses, except the players, they won't care, are able to summon the 4 cardinal winds to form a powerful cyclone bow and deliver swift justice to their foes. As contributing members of the Tyrian Alliance, the Tengu now offer tutelage in these skills to willing outsiders who express interest in the galeshot craft. And we got this picture right here of the Sylvari Rangers summoning a galeshot bow. Wielders of the Cyclone Bow. Galeshots are rangers and the premier archers of Tyria. Using their aptitude for nature magic, they can sculpt and command the wind at will. This power is manifested in the Cyclone Bow, a weapon that is capable of long-range devastation. The Cyclone Bow increases its strength as it's used, culminating in a powerful coup de grace to dispatch your enemies. Learning from nature, Galeshot emulates birds in the sky by employing squalls of air. They are swift and graceful to ensure advantageous positioning in battle. Battle with keen sight and unerring aim. Galeshots are able to call upon the Cyclone Bow at will. The Cyclone Bow generates arrows over time. These arrows are a resource used to fuel its skills, such as Supersonic Arrow, a lightning-fast shot of wind that... Well, wait, hold on. Is it supersonic speed or lightning speed? Those are different speeds. A lightning-fast shot of wind that deals heavy damage to enemies it pierces. As you use arrow-consuming skills with the bow, you progress toward enabling its finale, Hawkeye. Wait, the supersonic arrow isn't the finale? Hawkeye locks onto your target and nearby enemies and then unleashes a hail of shredding arrows. These archers utilize squalls to control the flow of battle. They can call upon a freezing wind to chill their projectiles, launch themselves with a whirlwind, or even summon a raging tornado. Galeshots can form a closer bond with their avian allies through traits like Flock Together, enhancing bird pets, and granting quickness to allies with beast skills. Okay, so let's see this section again.
Dominion of winds are whispered on the breeze. Graceful warriors from the royal houses have emerged, eager to share their ways with the Tyrian Alliance.
Eager. Tengu have been hiding from all our problems for like 12 years. I find them, the thought of them being eager to share anything with us, really suspect.
The galeshot manipulates magnificent gales to strengthen the power of their bow. Draw your cyclone bow, a testament to the magical abilities
Love how she's turning it sideways like a gangster.
of these skilled Tengu. With your cyclone bow summoned, gain feathers over time. Use these feathers to bluster your enemy, firing 3 arrows rapidly at your target. Evade backwards, shooting a hail of wind and arrows.
So that's shortbow 3.
Crippling your would-be assailants. Use your supersonic arrow, bursting forth with the power of the wind, dealing heavy damage. And finish off your enemy with a final blow.
And that's 360 no
Leaping
scope.
back with a flourish of arrows. As your enemies fall,
So she has 2 different attacks that fire like 3 shots in a row.
let the wind
it
carry
seems like.
their last breath away.
Okay, so right now I'm operating under the assumption that it's going to be like press F1 to summon Windbow in hand. And Windbow will have a few different attacks, right? I'm guessing it's going to have a basic attack while you're stockpiling these arrows that are then used for the bigger attacks. So I think it's like the Bladesworn Gunblade, where you'll have like your normal weapon or weapons, I don't know which, and then also the Galeshot bow is like F1.
Bow summoned.
So if you're running shortbow, longbow, and Galeshot, you could have 3 bows.
Gain feathers over time. Use these feathers to bluster your enemy, firing 3 arrows rapidly at your target.
All right, so that's
Evade
3
backwards,
arrows.
Shooting a hail
Then there's
of wind and
shortbow 3,
arrows,
where you jump backwards and
crippling
fire
your would-be
forward.
assailants.
And she said it cripples
Use your
them.
supersonic arrow, bursting forth with the power of the wind, dealing heavy damage.
I gotta say, this is very pretty in this, but this is a lot of crap flying around. Like, imagine being in a group with, like, 2 of these. Like, this, I fear this is going to have the same issue that Untamed has, where people don't like grouping with them because of all the SFX.
Arrow.
Like, there's a lot going on here.
The power of the wind.
It's like you're grouping with these people, and it's like you got 2 of them in the group, there's just birds constantly. You're just like, God dang it, I hate the summer.
Dealing heavy damage. And finish off your enemy with a final blow, leaping back with a flourish of arrows.
I like it's final blow, and then
As
it's
your
1,
enemies
2,
fall,
3, 4,
let the
5.
wind
So she's got a shot that leaps backward and fires forward. She's got a shot that does 3 arrows. She's got a shot where she jumps up and does 5 arrows.
Their last.
And then supersonic is a big shot.
So curvy.
Rising from the ashes of the
Okay, so I am mostly a Ranger main. In my 9,000 hours in Guild Wars 2, like 6,000 of them are on Ranger. Now, I'm going to share my opinion on this. I want to be very clear. This is not me saying they need to change anything. There's so many people that take, things I say wrong. This is just me sharing my thoughts on it. But it's kind of like, I don't like fishing in the game. But I'm happy that other players are happy they got fishing finally after so many years. I'm happy for them. This is going to be one of those cases, I fear. I already got 2 bows. I don't need a 3rd bow that does what they do. I'm kind of saddened by this, just by what I've seen so far, because it's like, I've already got a long bow, I've already got a short bow. They do all the moves we've seen in this video, and they don't cover the screen in special effects constantly. It does say that there's going to be a quickness variant. I'll have to look into that as a support enjoyer and see what it's got. But it's another bow that does something shockingly similar to what the other bows did. But do you have a loud AF bow? No. No, I don't. This is longer bow. Yeah, this is medium bow. So I'll have short bow, medium bow, long bow. It's bow. So I'm as a Ranger main, I'm kind of bummed out about this based on what I've seen so far. That might change. We might see something about their traits later on that's like, oh, dang, that's good. But right now, just operating on what I've seen so far, I feel like I got the short stick here. Very cool artwork. The animation's very pretty, although very also abundant. I don't know what I need this thing for. I can do literally a version of everything they showed in this video already. RIP projectile reflect. Yeah, I've said for years when people are like, oh, I hope Ranger gets a gun. I hope Ranger gets rifle or pistol. And I'm like, no, I don't, because we already have 3 weapons that fire projectiles in PvP, and people can bounce them back. A lot of builds can bounce them back. And this is probably going to be more of that. So, we'll see. We'll see. Man, that's my thoughts, and hopefully some more interesting stuff related to their traits or something is going to come out as we go forward. Okay. So, moving on to Luminary. First off, I want to point out, again, I put down, I think I said the shield was my 2nd pick for Guardian, but I locked it in as Paragon. So I was wrong on the shield icon, which means that the helm that I put down for Luminary is probably the Paragon. And then a lot of folks thought that the one icon that was like a shield or like a jaw or something like that, they're like, oh, that's a closed lamp because he's got like a lamp behind him. And no, it seems to be it seems to me that that's going to be the Revenant. All right, so this guy, basically, Blue Lantern. And for those of you that don't read comic books and you've heard of Green Lantern, there actually is a Blue Lantern core as well as yellow and red and others. This guy is Blue Lantern. It also seems like he's a Hollowsmith. He is pulling light out of this lamp and using it to make constructs. We saw him with an axe, a hammer, a sword, and a shield, at least during the video. Okay, Luminary, Protectors of the Secret Flame. In the years following the Char Civil War and the scattering of Bangar's dominion, relations between the 4 legions have remained steady, bolstered by events after the end of the Dragon Cycle. With the Flame Legion formally rejoining the Legions and the Iron Legion having appointed Smoder's successor, the two legions sought to commemorate the changing times with a joint project. Thus, the Luminary was born. In a shrewd diplomatic play, the two legions have since agreed to share their combined efforts with the Tyrian Alliance and its member races in the spirit of continued collaboration in this new era. Huh? Hold on. What? Flame Legion formally rejoined as Smoder's successor. In the years following the Char Civil War and the scattering of Iron's Dominion, relations between the four legions have remained steady, bolstered by events after the end of the Dragon Cycle. With the Flame Legion formally rejoining the legions and the Iron Legion having this of Smoder's successor, the two legions sought to commemorate the changing times of the joint project. So the Iron Legion and the Flame Legion, masters of shooting fire out of their hands and masters of making tanks, have combined their efforts and made a Guardian spec.
Sublime!
Okay. All right. Sure. All right. In a shrewd diplomatic play, the two legions have since agreed to share their combined efforts with the Tyrian Alliance and its member races in the spirit of continued collaboration in this new era. Luminaries bear an enchanted iron brazier, I almost said brazier, that's a different word, that sustains a powerful sacred flame. The bearer can wreath themselves with this fire and wield a blazing arsenal of weapons against their foes with striking powerful stances mid-fray. So, everyone who thought that this was Guardian, which I think was most of us, but there was a few people that thought this was Revenant, it is Guardian. Harness the Radiant Shroud. Luminaries are guardians, stalwart combatants on the battlefield capable of putting out respectable damage or supporting their allies. Their brazier provides energy for the Radiant Shroud, in which they are able to wield various weapons of light and flame to adapt to the situation at hand. Luminaries also have access to stance utility skills, gaining additional tools for offense, defense, crowd control, and mobility. Okay, so probably F1 to go into Guardian Shroud. Radiant Shroud is a new take on the Shroud mechanic. The Shroud has no limiting resource, of course not, because it's Guardian getting it, allowing players to always enter when the Shroud is not on cooldown. While in Radiant Shroud, your weapon skills are replaced with 5 new skills. A basic attack in the first slot and 4 Radiant weapon skills in the 2nd through 5th slots. Illuminating weaponry. Hold on, let's go back to this, but yes. Okay, so if a Necromancer wants to go into Death Shroud, they have to have at least 10% of their Shroud bar filled up. If they are a Reaper or a Core Necro, it will replace their hit point bar, so it protects their hit points and also changes their 1 through 5. If they are a Harbinger, and they go into the Shroud, it also blights them and lowers their max health. If you want to count, Druid as a Shroud, when they go into Lunar form, it has to be off cooldown, and the Astral Power bar has to be at 100%. It can't be at 99. And then you've also got Thief, who has the Spectre Shroud. But all of them have resources that they have to juggle. Illuminating weaponry. Using a Radiant weapon skill will equip that weapon while performing an initial attack, and then flip over into the weapon's additional skill. The Luminary's Grandmaster minor trait, Radiant Armaments, grants a unique passive bonus based on the equipped weapon, which lingers for a bit after exiting Shroud. Luminaries looking to maximize their outgoing damage may want to use the Hammer right before exiting to take advantage of the bonus damage passive, while those who need to support their allies might prefer to end on Staff to gain access to its increased outgoing healing. Okay, so there's a Hammer, an Axe, a Staff, a Sword and Shield. Players are free to use all 4 weapons while in Shroud, but there is a trade-off. The recharge time of Radiant Shroud will increase for each weapon used beyond the first. Okay, what's next? Each weapon used beyond the first, very similar to Function Gyro. If it revives 1 person, it has a normal cooldown, but if you use it to revive 2 or even 3, it will increase and increase and increase. What's next? We hope you've enjoyed our first of the 3 Elite Spec previews. Okay, so that leaves the Guardian section. So let's go back and rewatch the Guardian stuff.
Our Civil War, the Iron and Flame Legions have combined their technological and magical sensibilities to harness radiant flame to beckon forth an era of change. Call up the Radiant Shroud to gain access to the power bestowed upon you. Protect yourself with your shield.
Okay, so first off, did he do a charge there?
To the power bestowed upon you. Protect
It looks like maybe you charge forward when you get out the sword and shield. Unless that was a utility skill.
yourself with your shield and daze your
So you've got to block with the shield.
enemies with a quick bash. Bring the hammer down upon.
Alright, so each weapon skill does one thing, and then it flips over and does another thing. So sword shield looked like it had a dash engage possibly, a block, and a shield bash maybe at the end of the block?
On them as you grant boons to your allies.
Hold on, how long was he in the air there? That was like a week.
Bring the hammer down upon them as you grant boons to your allies.
Wow, dude, he held that thing in the air like it was Scion from League of Legends. Okay, so big slam down with the hammer, and then he spins. So, it's Reaper Shroud now.
With the hammer's presence.
It's in slow mode. Dude, look at the other people, though. Hang on.
Bring the
Like, he raises up, and look at this guy.
hammer down upon them.
He
as
finishes
you
his
grant
attack, and then this guy goes down. So, yeah,
boons to your allies.
there is a hanging
With
animation.
the hammer's presence. Take a stance against the damages done to your allies as you heal and grant them
Oh, that's staff? I thought that was a two-handed battle axe. That's why I kept saying axe earlier. Is that staff?
is done to your allies as you heal and grant them protection. Become a symbol of hope by fulfilling the duties of the luminary.
Okay. That's the staff. Alright, so there's staff, there's sword shield, there's
Is that the
hammer,
luminary?
and... They said there's 4 weapons. I'm not sure what the other one is. Okay. Alright. So, this one, the staff thing, big circle, they mentioned it gives protection. Maybe it does healing as well. This might be another, you know, like overload water type of deal. And they said that you get passive bonuses. Can't wait for Bo builds. Oh my god, don't talk to me. They said there's going to be passive bonuses based on the weapons that you use. So they mentioned you might want to use hammer right before leaving Shroud just to stack up passive things there. So I would expect this might result in builds like if you're a support luminary, you might only care about the staff from the luminary Shroud. Like go into Shroud, use the staff skill, leave Shroud type of thing. And if you're a power luminary, you might only care about enter Shroud, use hammer, leave Shroud. But then anyone could use the shield in an emergency to get another block, you know, yada, yada, yada. Now, one question is, if it's a Shroud bar, does it protect your hit points? For some classes it does, and for some it does not. So, like, if the Guardian takes a hint while in Shroud, will it just damage the Shroud bar, or will it hit their HP? That's one thing I'm curious about. Also, can you have a fully support luminary that focuses on the staff, and could you have a fully DPS luminary that focuses on the hammer, for example? I would kind of expect it to, but they specifically mentioned quickness from the galeshot, but they did not mention a lack or quickness from the luminary or the troubadour. That's not to say it's not there, but they didn't mention it in this blog post. Let's see. There's a line in Shroud about having no limiting resources, so it's probably not a second health bar. Yeah, I would kind of hope not, if they could just dip into it that often, but I'm not sure. It sounds pretty cool. So it seems like, I would guess, you press like F1 to go into Luminary Shroud, or Radiant Shroud, and then within that Shroud, you know, one button is Sword Shield, one button is Staff, one is Hammer, and then there's something else, because they mentioned there being 4 weapons, and I don't think they showed 4, unless I missed it. But I don't know what the 5th slot is, unless there's a slot that's just an auto attack. Like, it's possible when you go into Shroud, you automatically have the sword and shield in your hand. Like, entering Shroud, like the F1 is that leap forward, and then maybe there's just like a sword shield auto, but then like you press it and then there's block followed by the bash. Not sure on that. Not sure on that. But it's interesting, and I like interesting. So, just based on my own likes and dislikes, the Luminary seems pretty rad. The troubadour seems kind of cool. The galeshot seems like a rerun. Again, based on my own likes and dislikes. Not everyone will agree with me, and that's okay. So I'm really interested to see what the troubadour and the luminary can do, especially based on like support builds and stuff like that. Because, you know, that's my thing. I love pet builds, I love support builds, and I love anything that's one of those or both of those. Yeah. I think that's it. I think that's all I've got to say. So, as always, I'll have the links to all this information in the description down below if you want to reread any of this yourself. If you've got any questions, problem, thoughts, concerns, or feedback, or you noticed something in the video that I missed, maybe there was like a frame where Blish was in the background or something, let me know because I want to hear about it. And I will talk to you guys after the big thing, the big reveal of the gameplay showcase on Friday.